Hello everyone. Today we're going to be looking at how to get SSH keys set up on various platforms. They'll be including Windows 10 with the latest updates, CentOS, think Red Hat, and then Linux Mint 19.1, think Ubuntu, think Debian. Okay, so what we're going to do is, well, firstly, if you don't mind, if you could just maybe give me a thumbs up or something for this video down below, or maybe subscribe to my channel. Just gives me an idea that, you know, I'm on the right track and you guys like what I'm doing, you get something out of it. And if you don't mind maybe looking at my Patreon page, some help would be greatly appreciated. Thanks. Well, let's get down to it. So let's assume that this machine that I'm working on here now, this machine, all right, what you see now, this is Linux Mint 19.1. Let's assume this is our server for now, and we want to connect to it from a development machine, which is a laptop, remotely. Okay, I've used no machine software, remote desktoping to connect to it. And so what you see now here is actually the laptop. Okay, we're working on the laptop. All right, so the first thing we need to do, well, you can try to connect the normal way. So let's say SSH 192.168.0. Now the IP for the server, okay, the machine we spoke about just now, is 106. So if I try and connect to it, okay, the first time is going to ask me, am I sure? I say yes, I'm sure. You'll just ask this the first time. And then it's going to ask me my password. And this is exactly why we want to use a key, so that we can get rid of this password, because this is the password of the user on the main machine that we're trying to connect to. And so I can put in that password and we connected. Okay, so we now on, like it shows here, Mint 19, and that is the name of the machine, okay, our server. So if we exit from that, okay, and we redo it again, it's not going to ask us all this key fingerprinting and stuff with up here. It's not going to ask us again. It's going to ask us immediately for our password. Okay, but we're going to skip that. And what we're going to do now is we have to generate a key. Okay, so ssh-keygen. Okay, we could just press enter at this point and it'll generate the default key for us, which is an RSA key. I think it's 204, what's it, 102.204.8. I would recommend you don't use that, but rather 496. But we're going to use something completely different. Okay, so we're going to specify the type, and if I remember correctly, it's ED25519. Okay, and we're also going to add a comment to it. Okay, and we're going to say this is, let's say, laptop. Okay. Okay, it's going to ask us where do we want to save that key that it's going to generate, the public and private key. You could just accept the defaults. Typically that's fine. Just now I am going to show you how to put it into a different place, or a different folder, because what happens is if you use the same key type generate, so let's say for instance we want to use this ED25519 on for a different server as well. The file is going to be overwritten with the new server stuff. So we want to keep them in separate subfolders, okay, or you know, somehow, and or to rename them or whatever. But that's the subfolders a solution that I like. Okay, so we're going to accept the default and say yes, put it in that folder. Okay, the passphrase, okay, is something that matters. Well, it does matter, but it matters more with servers, but that's also a choice we'll discuss later. This is like, it's going to accept the key and then still ask you for a passphrase. So it's still going to ask you for basically a password. So the key goes through and the password has to be given. So in normal circumstances, that's fine. You can just leave that blank, okay? All right, and the key has been generated. So if we change, okay, we're currently in our home folder, all right, but there are some hidden files here, and one of them is, or folders, and one of them is .ssh. Okay, so let's go into there and listen, see what's in there. And what it's done is it's gone and created, well, firstly known hosts. When you ask us up top here, all this information here, and we said yes to that. Okay, it went and added it to the known host file, so it didn't ask us again. Then it created these two files here, which is what contains our public and private key. This first one is our private key and the second one is our public key. Okay, the public key is what gets sent out to other computers and the private key stays on the current computer. Now, to get this key over to our server, the public key, so that we can connect, okay, we can use another SSH utility, ssh-copy-id, copy-id, all right, and you can specify by using you can specify the exact file that you want to copy over, path, etc. to SSH, to wherever it's lying. But in this case, we're just going to copy, well, everything over, but there is only the one. This is the one that we created here, so that's the only one that's going to be copied over. All right. Now, just before it does a copy, let's quickly go back to the server. And in this folder, cd.ssh, if we go in there, we'll notice there's nothing in there. Okay. Because we haven't copied the key over yet. All right, so if we go back to our laptop, okay, we tell them to copy everything over, and we want to we've got to specify the server that it's got to log on to copy it over to, and the username and so forth. So we do it the normal way and say, well, you've got to log in as Dean on the server, and the address is 192.168.0.106. okay. And so it tells us, okay, there's keys to be installed, okay, and it's going to ask you your normal password, your normal SSH login password. So the keys are not in effect yet, okay, so it's your normal password to log on to the remote machine, okay, and it's now copied them over, okay. So now we can try and log in to that machine, SSH 192.168.0.106. Okay, and now normally it would ask us our password. Remember previously it asked us our password, okay, and this time, bam, it's just connected. We're on that remote machine, so the key is in effect, it's worked, okay. Now if we go to that remote machine, to our server, we minimize this. And remember, I said, let's ls again and see what it's done. It's gone and created a file called authorized keys. Okay. Now, if we have a look at that authorized keys, okay. It's copied 2 across. Oh, we had more keys than what I thought. Okay. I had a previous one here. Okay. My mistake. We don't want that. Okay. Just messed up here. Control X, no, okay, so, okay, let's just start again. Okay, so if you go to the end here, this is the one that was just created now, all right. This one was from a previous thing, I just happened to copy it over, it was my mistake, okay. But this is the one that we're interested in. Now you could have taken by hand, if we go back to the laptop, okay, and if in this folder, sorry, in cd.ssh, ssh ls we still remotely logged in, my mistake. Okay, so let's get out of it. Okay, so this pub file here, all right, that file, if we just nano that quickly or edit that quickly, no, id underscore edit, why does it id .pub. Okay, if you look at this information that's given to us here, and we go to the end here, it says laptop. Okay, this is the public key. You could have just taken this key, copied and pasted it, or sent it, if you want to go so far, via email, or encrypted, hopefully, or phone a person, and somehow get this information over to the server. Okay, and what they can then do is actually copy that and then paste it into this authorized keys file. Okay, so if you look at the end here, it's a laptop, it's the exact same key that was given, and therefore it works from Linux to Linux, from the laptop to our main server being 192.168.0.106, and that's to here. So the next one is to have a look at getting to Windows. So I have Windows 10 running here, okay, and if we have a look at, sorry, it was just a truck that rode past there. If we look in our users home folder, okay, there's no SSH, it should be a .ssh folder here. Not yet, okay, because we haven't done anything with SSH yet. So now the same thing applies as what we just did on Linux, okay, so it's ssh-keygen. Okay, for this to work, you obviously need the SSH client installed in Windows, and with the latest releases of Windows 10, I think it's been for, I don't know how many months already. Well, actually, I don't know. It's actually, as far as I know, it's been there all along. The server you do have to install though. I'll show you just now where you can select that. But if you wanted to act as a server, in this case, we just want to be a client, so it's okay. So we say ssh-keygen, and we could specify the same as with Linux. We could specify the ed 25119 type, etc., etc. But or you can just leave it as is, okay, and it'll create an RSA key for you. Like I said, it's not going to be very short. It's a 2048 key. You could make it stronger and make it 4096, okay, but let's just, for simplicity, let's just show you. We've shown you now in Linux how to specify the key type. Now we're doing it by just saying ssh-keygen, and that's it. We finished. We don't want to go any further. All right. And it's asking us, where do you wish to install it? Yes, we want it to go to the default location, .ssh-idrsa, and it's going to ask us for a passphrase. Also, same as what we did just now, we're going to leave this empty, okay? And empty, and it's gone ahead and created it. Okay, so if we look in here, we have in our home folder now, we have a .ssh folder. If we go in there, we'll notice we've got our two keys that were generated, a private key and a public key. Okay, now we need to get this public key over to Linux. Now, in Windows, you don't have, like with the normal Linux client, you've got ssh-copy-id, and you would put in, but it doesn't exist in Windows. Okay, so we're gonna have to, there are things you can install, but we're gonna do this manually. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna open with, okay, don't always use, say, Notepad. Okay, all right, and we're gonna copy that entire string. All right, and close that down. Now, this being a virtual machine with Windows 10 running in, I did enable the clipboard sharing with Mint. So if we come into Mint and we go and we opened our authorized keys, okay, and we come to the bottom here and we say paste it in, okay, and it's added that nice long key for us. Control S, okay, save that. Now, if we go back to Windows, okay, and if we try and SSH into our machine, 192 into our server, 168.0.106, okay, remember the first time it asks us, are we sure you want to? Yes, we do, okay, and boom, we've logged in. It's just accepted our key that we created, our SSH key, and we're in, okay. This should now work, for instance, for FileZilla. So if we open up FileZilla and we create a new connection, SSH, oh, this is already done. I thought I deleted this just now, but okay. So we create a new one, SSH. We have to tell it that's the SFTP protocol. We give them the IP address that we want to connect to. It does, if I remember correctly, you got to change this to key file. I think it does. You have to put in the username, and then the key file itself is to your, it's the path to your private key. So if we go to sorry, what am I doing here now? This PC. Okay, I'm already in SSH. Oh, sorry. Okay, you got to change down here, all files, and you choose that file there. Double click on it. Well, double click on it, and it adds it here for you. So remember that is your private key that you put there. The public key we copied over to Linux, and the private key remains on Windows. Okay, and we're happy with that, and we say connect, and it should now connect. There we go. We connected to our Linux machine and up and running, etc. All right, so that's FileZilla also set up so that it uses SSH keys. And our next step is to get CentOS set up. Now, in CentOS, what we're going to do is a little bit different, okay? Currently, let me just exit out of here. Okay. Currently, we have, currently this machine, okay, the machine we're doing the recording on all along, I said, is our server, okay? IP address 192.168.0.106. Okay, so from Windows we connected to this machine, and from our Linux laptop we connected to this machine. Okay, and that's why their public keys are listed in authorized keys. But now we want to do the opposite. We want this machine, okay, to actually connect to CentOS, okay, for a remote administration. Okay, so if we look in CentOS, let's just quickly log into CentOS here. Okay, if we do a ls-al, okay, there's a couple of hidden files here in my home directory, our normal bash history and so forth. But you'll notice there's no .ssh. Okay, that's going to change very soon. All right, so what we want to do is we get to our machine here. Okay, so remember our client that wants to connect to CentOS. Okay, so we need to create a key on here. All right, now I'm going to do it a little bit differently than the normal way. Okay, I'm going to create a folder. Okay, we're not worried about restrictions and so forth at the moment, or authorization and so forth. So we create a CentOS folder. So if we ls on that, so we've got our authorized keys in a CentOS folder. All right. So now we're going to do a ssh-keygen, and we are again going to use type ed25519, and okay, and we're going to say this is from let's just call this the developer box. No, I think that's what I call the laptop one. I can't remember now. Let's just call this from 106. Okay, simple as that. From 106. Okay, and all right, it'll go ahead and create our key for us. Now, this is the point where I'm going to change things. Okay, we've accepted the default all along. Okay, but this time we don't want to. Okay, we want to stick it into the CentOS subfolder. Okay, so what we need to do is say, we could just use a shortcut, but I'll type out the whole thing. Dean .ssh dash CentOS slash okay id underscore 25519. Okay, so we're putting in a subfolder from where we'd normally create it. Okay, and let's just make sure that it's IDED. Oops, ooh, ID. Always make this mistake. 25519. IDED 25519. All right, there we go. Okay, now this is the thing about the passphrase. Okay. When you're dealing with the server, obviously there are often times when you want to run automatic scripts, okay, remotely, let's say from our machine here, our client, onto the CentOS server. And because it's scripts and we're not going to stand by the automated, we don't want a passphrase, okay, because then the scripts won't run, all right? So you better make sure that your passwords obviously on your server are extremely strong, okay? And then rather have a slightly weaker passphrase on this machine. So if somebody does want to break into the machine, it's going to be very difficult for them to guess the passwords, because they are very difficult passwords on the server, make them very long and complex, etc., etc. And on this machine, okay, to log into this machine, somebody's got to get to this machine, they've got to figure out where it is, etc., etc. They've got to get the password to log in. Then they've got to get my public key, etc. Okay, so we're fairly safe, okay, to not have a passphrase, so that you can do your automated scripting, okay. But just for test purposes, I'm going to show you what happens when we need a passphrase. Okay, so I'm going to say, instead of just pressing enter and skipping, I'm going to add a passphrase, fairly simple one, and it's created. Okay, so now if we go and look in cd CentOS, and we look inside here, okay, there's our public key. Okay, now remember, when we get to CentOS and we do again LSA all right, there's no SSH related information. Okay, so what we now have to do is copy over the public key to the server, okay, by using again ssh-copy-id, okay, and you have to give it the path to the file, because it's not lying. Normally we would just say ssh-copy-id and give, we'll say Dean at 192.168. I think it was 56.102. That's the CentOS server's IP address. Okay, and if we just press enter now, it would take what is lying in our SSH folder and copy that public key over, not what is in our CentOS subfolder. Okay, so we need to specify. Okay, so we tell them -i, okay, and then you give them the path. I'm again going to type it the long way, home /dean /.ssh CentOS what is it? So it's id _ed 25519.pub, because it's your public key. All right, and let's throw that over. All right, so the first time we want to connect to CentOS, it's asks us our normal stuff. You say yes, you want to. Now remember, same as previously, it's trying to now copy that key over. You still have to log in with your normal user password the first time. Okay, so we'll do that, and it throws the key over. Okay, so now if we come and look at the CentOS machine, all right, and we do ls again, now we have a .ssh entry at the bottom there. So if we change into that .ssh, and we do a list on that, and we'll see there's authorized keys, which is going to, same as in our previous case, it's going to have our public key from our client machine, being this machine. Okay, now because we've changed the path, okay, to our public and private keys, okay, we need to specify, we need to create a config file, okay, in the normal SSH folder. Okay, so we say create a new document. Again, I'm not worried about the authorization and permissions and so forth at the moment. Just keep that in mind. Okay, and inside here, so inside the config file, you need, okay, the following. So I think I can just zoom in here a little bit for you. Larger text and view, larger text and view. Come on, let's get a bit larger. Okay, so we give him the IP address .56.102. Okay, so that's the IP address for the machine we want to connect to. We're telling him that it's public key, and then we have to tell him where does the private key lie. So this is the key that I added CentOS there, well, not the key as in the private key or public key, but you know what I mean. So that CentOS is what is required there. So okay, and you can have multiple entries here. I mean, you could say host. Let's say, well, if you had the luck of having access to Microsoft SSH, and then you can put in your domain name and this preferred authenticator, etc., etc. And okay, but we'll just accept it like that. Control S that. Okay, and close that down. All right, so there's the config file. All right, and if we get back here, okay, and we try and log into CentOS, there's our passphrase it asks us for. It now knows where the key lies. It's picked up that it's lying in CentOS. Okay, and now we can put in our passphrase, and we should be connected to CentOS. There we go, we're on CentOS. So if I do an ls, I'm in my home, so ls-al. Okay, so I see the exact same as what I see on this side. ls-al. All right. Hang on a second. Why do I see? Oh, okay. Now let's just go back one directory. ls-al. Okay, and there, what you see down here and what you see here is the exact same. We are now logged into CentOS securely using authentication keys and so forth. Now, okay. Well, that's basically it. So yeah, we've just quickly gone over how to set up your keys, accepting a default RSA keys. We've connected from Windows to Linux. We've connected from Linux client to a Linux server. And we've also specified specific subfolders for specific keys. So if you needed, the same named key for a different server, just stick in a different subfolder, and remember your config file, just update that to point to the new one, and then everything should be sorted. And that's it, guys. See you next time. Enjoy.